Hi guys, it's Drabble here and welcome back to another unboxing video, a smaller unboxing video than last time. Um, but yeah, I'm going to unbox these 50 cards. Um, kind of hoping that okay. Problem number one, there's Pokemon on each side, so that's not hidden. So yeah, I guess the first Pokemon we're unboxing is Kingler. Um, And then the next one is Drabble. I don't think I've heard of this one before or anything related to it. It's definitely like a dragon type. Let me see if I can open this in a way where I don't see any more cards. Okay, so I just had to flip it apart. So apparently the Jogma is part of this set. I'm guessing these are the hollow or reverse hollows in the ultra rare, and then the rest of them came like this. So I only saw like the bottom most cards of each of these. So I'll open this one once we get through this stack. But again, just as a reminder, pulling it from the bottom, our last card was a Kingler. Definitely think I got a Krabby before. Let me move my keyboard. Yeah, there. I have a little bit more room to work around with. So yeah, I have a Kingler. Let's see what we have next. Electricity energy. I don't think we got this last time actually. So that would actually be a new one. Next, grass energy. I also think we didn't get this one last time. Well, that was just someone struggling to get their car. I mean, there was a little bit of snow earlier today, but it wasn't much, and it's gone by the time I got here, so I think they're just struggling. Or their treads are bad. Who knows? Alright, next we have fire energy. So I'll definitely have. I think I have most energies at this point. I think I'm just missing maybe metal and dragon. If those are new ones or just new ones they created with the game. Not sure. I'll definitely go through my binder in a little bit once we get through some of these cards. Alright, next. Speak of the devil, a metal energy. It'd be really cool if with this unboxing, I have all at least one copy of all the energies. That would actually be quite cool. And then I can maybe learn how to use it in this card game. Well, this version of the card game. Next, we have a different version of the metal card. Next, ooh, a Nidoran male. I think I got this one before. Or was that a female one? I'm not sure. I have one. I forget if I have the male or female version. So next. Ooh, I definitely remember this. Abra. Abra is one of my favorites. So yeah, I definitely remember getting this. I also think this is probably an AR image. A little bit. At least that's what it's coming across as to me. Alright, next. Diglett. I don't remember if we got this one before. But maybe. But Diglett's also one of my favorites as well. I also love Duck Trio, just because I don't understand how there's three of them, or if it's kind of like the lizard thing, where instead of regrowing like a tail, they grow a new head, or if there's like a Siamese twin situation. I have no clue how Diglets work, but I would love to know. Alright, next we have a Hauntor. Again, in that comic child art style I like. Also, ironically enough, this is like the one Pokemon I have not been able to get in the. Is it Hauntor or. Yeah, no. Hauntor I definitely haven't gotten, I think. In Ghastly, I haven't gotten in the mobile game. It's just so difficult. Alright. Next, we have Golduck. Definitely remember getting Psyduck before. So that is one full evolution done. I might have maybe one or two more done, but this one I definitely have done. I would love if I could complete all of them, but who knows. Next. Ooh, Bill's transfer. I'm guessing this is like the computer, the guy with the computer that we put our Pokemon in the RPG version. Alright, look at the top 8 cards of your deck. You may reveal any number of Pokemon you find there and put them into your hand. Shuffle the other cards back into your deck. Coolio. Alright, next. Leftovers. Guess this is another item. It's a apple. At the end of your turn, if the Pokemon this card is attached to is in the active spot, heal 20 damage from it. And then the little things, just how you're supposed to use this. Just about how to attach it and whatnot. Alright, next. Ooh, a ring. So, another item. Kind of reminds me of a WWE wrestling belt, to be honest. Although the X, of course, is going to remind me of the X-Men. Alright. The stage 1 Pokemon this card is attached to takes 30 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon after applying weaknesses and resistance. Okay, so it's like a shield with, I guess, a hardness of 30. That makes sense. That's a quite basic D&D thing, but that's the only thing I know. Next. Ooh, Graveler. This is obviously a rock Pokemon. Let's say Roke. That is not a word. Or maybe it is. It travels by rolling down cliffs. If it falls into a river, it will explode with its last gasp. What in the world? So if it gets wet, it dies? What in the world, Game Freak? That is like actually a kind of sad Pokemon description. Or does it mean into like spawning like a mushroom? That's the only way it has a happy ending. That is weird. Alright. Next. A horsey. Because everyone loves a seahorse. Alright. They swim with dance-like motions and cause whirlpools to form. Horsey compete to see which of them can generate the biggest whirlpool. Okay, so horsey is apparently. Is it like goose, where goose is both the singular and the plural? Now I'm wondering about Pokemon grammar, apparently. But yeah, I guess technically a horse, dragon. I think that was that the thing with in fruits baskets where in because horse dragon wouldn't fit in with modern day um modern day Japan. I think the dragon turned into a seahorse if I'm remembering that correctly. I wonder. Alright, next card is Rapidash. I actually think I have this exact same art in the mobile game. I wouldn't be surprised if so. Right, the fastest runner becomes the leader, and it decides the herd's pace and direction of travel. So once whoever becomes the alpha of the pack magically turns into a Rapidash. That is what I understand from that, and there's nothing else to say about it. So they become a Ponyta until they become adults and start their own pride, almost like a lion, maybe. I actually don't know how horses create their, at least in nature, create their um, herd. I'm trying to think of herd. I kept saying every other word that's similar to herd without saying herd. Alright, next card. We have, ooh, a Nidorina. So if I remember correctly, this is the teenager version of the Nidoran female. If the group is threatened, these Pokemon will band together to assault enemies with a chorus of ultrasonic waves. This kind of sounds like hyenas. They definitely attack in groups, and their voices are creepy. So I actually would not be surprised if this somehow worked like a hyena. They also have like ears, like hyenas. I think it works for it really well. But anyway, next card. Eradicate. Although this one is actually really adorable. It looks like a baby Raticate. Its whiskers are essential for maintaining its balance. No matter how friendly you are, it will get angry and bite you if you touch its whiskers. That's actually the same with the mice I work with. As long as you get it, mess with their whiskers, they get really upset. If you have tools that accidentally brush against their whiskers, they get really upset and get mad at you. Luckily, I have work with a very nice strain of mice, so they don't really bite me. They just shake and want you away from them for a little bit, but then they'll just sit in your hand, and I really like the strain that I work with. I don't work with rats, so I don't know how picky rats are, but I wonder if the pickiness is similar. Next, Squirtle. I finally got one of the starters. Well, at least the first generation starters. And my first starter, when I started any of the RPGs, is always water type. I always went with water type. I love water. That's actually one of my favorite. If you consider the four element, like the traditional four element square, water has always been my favorite. But yes, Squirtle. When it feels threatened, it draws its limbs inside its shell and sprays water from its mouth. I definitely remember that as a move in the RPG. So at least it fits. Alright, next card. Golbat. That actually looks really creepy and haunting. Whoever did that art did a wonderful job. Its feet are tiny, but this Pokemon walks skillfully. It sneaks up on sleeping prey before sinking its fangs and slurping up blood. So, stereotypical what we think of vampire bats. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, most bats eat fruits. Yeah, no, I love that art style. But it's interesting that it actually walks. Um, based on its art style and several things, I always expected its body to be way too big for its legs. So it's helpful when, I guess, I always imagine them hanging upside down, like traditional bats in media. I never really thought about them actually walking around. Alrighty then. Next card, we have a Tangela. That is actually a really, if I can get this with a really pretty image. So this is a Pokemon that works with Erica's invitation. I guess it's an item that we don't have yet. Hidden beneath a tangle of vines that grows non-stop even if the vines are torn off, this Pokemon's true appearance remains a mystery. So probably kudzu. It's covered in kudzu, and no matter what you do to it, if you don't keep up with kudzu, it gets everywhere. Definitely an invasive species, but I don't even know what we can do with kudzu at this point. It's just so widespread and it grows so fast. Or even if we should at this point. It's been over at least here in the States for a while. That is a question for some time that is not now. I always have like these random inquiries as we go through Pokemon cards. I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to be this serious or this deep, but this is the way my brain works. Alright, next card, we have a Coughing. Yeah. I think, if I remember correctly in the anime, Team Rocket always used the second of the evolution of this, because I remember having two heads, so I think it might be the evolution of this one. I just can't think of the name right now. Its body is full of poisonous gas. It floats into garbage dumps, seeking out the fumes of raw, rotting trash. I mean, if it would stay over garbage dumps, that sounds fine. And also, this sounds like an evolution to the more industrial world, because I don't really imagine this Pokemon would necessarily thrive in a pre-industrial world. Yeah, probably an adaptation to something. Who knows? Next card, we have Psyduck, looking confused as always. It is constantly rocked by a headache. When the headache turns intense, it begins using mysterious powers. Although, to be fair, I don't think I've ever really known what Psyducks do. I just know they always are holding their heads. Have I seen a Psyduck actually use its powers? I don't think so. I don't think I've ever gotten a Psyduck in the RPG. In the anime, I literally only remember it holding its head. Like, its attack is water gun, so I assume it's kind of similar to Squirtle, but there seems to be something else going on with this Pokemon. But either way, next card. Ecans. Because the best way to name something is to name it backwards. Yeah. There we go. Alright, the eggs of bird Pokemon are its favorite food. It swallows eggs whole, so sometimes an egg gets stuck and Ecans faints. That's actually kind of hilarious. And also, I noticed this little detailing at its tail. Is it supposed to be a rattlesnake? And then obviously, Abrock is a cobra, because I can read things backwards. Don't tell my friends because they think I can't. Right, next card. Lickitung. Although I'll be honest, this one always creeped me out because of the tongue thing. Long's tongues kind of creep me out. But it is a licking Pokemon. Oh my gosh, it's 3'11". and 144 pounds. That is gigantic. I would hate for this to be around me. Bug Pokemon are Lickitung's main food source. This Pokemon paralyzes its prey with a lick from its long tongue, then swallows the prey whole. Alright, so it's a really weird frog thing that hasn't totally become a frog or toad, and it's kind of in the tadpole stage. Eh, it's really gross looking. Alright, next card. Ooh, Ghastly! Again, in that childlike comic book style I really liked. Kind of reminds me of some like the older anime, or even like cartoons, because I know like Chowder did this, where instead of like having a drawn background, it's kind of like a still background, and then sometimes it would just be transparent, so the background came through, but it meant that every time a character moved or so, you would get a different part of the background and create really interesting designs like that. That's kind of what it reminds me of. I think Chowder is probably the best version I can think of currently. Alright, next we have another Paris, the Pokemon that for whatever reason I always thought was a water type, because I apparently got this one and Krabby confused, because I'm just like that. Alright, next card, have another Voltorb with a Pokeball looking thing looking very angry. It rolls to move. If the ground is uneven, a sudden jolt from hitting a butt can cause it to explode. Does it? I'm going to say it just gives off a whole bunch of static electricity when something like that happens. So you get like a bump up, and it's not. This is the happy ending version of all of these descriptions. But next card, another Kingler. Its oversized claw is very powerful. When it's not in battle, the claw just gets in the way. I remember reading that the first time, but since we didn't read it in this video, I just went ahead and did it. Next card. Ooh, a Rhydon. What is? Oh, that's just how the wind is working. There was just a line in a really weird place across its belly. But anyway, protected by an armor-like hide, it is capable of living in molten lava of 3,600 degrees Fahrenheit. I wonder where you would find that, and if that is anywhere close to human relevancy. Well, yeah, human relevancy, but like on Earth, if that would be comparable, or like how far inside the core, going towards the core, you would be before it got to that temperature. Yeah, just a temperature higher than like 200 is unimaginable to me, because I think it's 212 degrees Fahrenheit that water boils at. Pretty sure. Anyway, let's move on to the next card. And I got a Rhyhorn, the de-evolution, I suppose we could say. But yeah, no, that's hilarious how they're together. Although, Rhyhorn is a spike Pokemon, and Rhydon is a drill Pokemon, so I suppose its spike, just as it matures, becomes a drill. It can remember only one thing at a time. Once it starts rushing, it forgets why it started. I'm pretty sure that is true of all toddlers, so don't feel bad, Rhyhorn. That's everyone. Alright, next card. Another Hauntor. I also don't think I read the description of this one last time, so I'll read it again. It likes to lurk in the dark and tap shoulders with a gaseous hand. His touch causes endless shuddering. Ah, Everyone's favorite thing, ghost stew. Right, next. Another Psyduck. This Ruby in the middle of the head definitely gives me mysterious powers vibe. Unless that's why it has a headache. It's growing all that power. Alright. I also don't think I read this one last time. Oops. When it swims at full speed using its long webbed limbs, its forehead somehow begins to glow. I wonder if there's like a hidden next evolution. Just because it feels like there should be something else. But it's just like super mysterious, and Psyduck never gets to that point. It's a mystery. Right, next card is a Pinsor. Looking like a is it a scarab? Maybe? I don't know. Oh, it literally says a stag beetle Pokemon. So I just need to learn how to read. But it is Scarab, the stereotypical Egyptian Pokemon. Not Pokemon, the beetle. It's been a long day in the lab. That's all I'm gonna say. Alright. This Pokemon clamps its pincers down on its prey and then either splits the prey in half or flings it away. Why fling it away? Yeah, maybe you're fighting, fling it away, but not prey. That's weird. Alright, next card. Ooh, a Weeping Bell. That's also a bit of a cartoony style. I really like it. It spits out poison powder to immobilize the enemy and then finishes it with a spray of acid. So definitely giving me Flytrap vibes, but not of the Venus kind. Alright, next card. We have a Parasect. So I think we got that full one as well. Full evolution series. But yeah, this is no longer a crab Pokemon, it's now a mushroom Pokemon. I get confused with how they're determining this. Oh, the bug is mostly dead, with the mushroom on its back having become the main body. If the mushroom comes off, the bug stops moving. I think there's an actual... Yeah, no, there's an actual fungus that does this, I'm fairly certain. Where it kind of like mind controls the bug, and it's like you usually see it in ants. I forget exactly what it's called, but that is a very real thing. I don't remember what it's called, unfortunately. Alright, next. Next card. Cloyster. Getting a bunch of water and grass types today. Cloyster that live in seas with harsh tidal currents grow large, sharp spikes on their shells. So kind of like an evolutionary an adaptation. It sounds more like than an evolution. Alright, next we have a Machop. Or Machope. I never know. I always have wondered if, what are these? Are these like the ribs or gills? I'm never sure. Always brimming with power, it passes time by lifting boulders. Doing so makes it even stronger. So, the One Punch Man of Pokemon. Alright, next card. Ooh, another Porygon. Just so adorable. Right. Now this is interesting. So this one, I can convert the different types of energy. In order to change the weakness type. And change it to that weakness. Oh, that's interesting. In recent years, the species has been very helpful in cyberspace. These Pokemon will go around checking to make sure no suspicious data exists. Okay, so they're the NSA. Lovely. Alright, next card. Electabuzz. It's definitely giving me like Hand of Power vibes. Alright, with the comings of a storm, many of these Pokemon will gather under a tall tree and sit there waiting for lightning to strike. I've actually not really seen how likely is it that lightning actually strikes. I mean, it'll have to be the largest object in the area for it to mainly happen. I don't know how advantageous that is going to be honest. Alright, next. A Snorlax. Another one of my favorites. It does everything I want to do. Sleep and sleep. Alright, this Pokemon's stomach is so strong even eating moldy or rotten food will not affect it. I believe you. It's like immune. I wonder if it's immune to poison. Like poison type. I think it should. If it's not, it should be, since it's immune to food poisoning. Alright, next card. We have another item card of a Down Fossil. Takes 30 less damage, and I play it as if it were a basic Pokemon. Alright, next. I have a Weedle. I think I'm close to getting a full set of the Weedle evolutions. If so, I cannot wait. Its poison stinker is very powerful. Its bright-colored body is intended to warn off its enemies. Well, I think it does a terrible job because it is adorable, and I would love to have one. Alright, next. Ooh, a Zubat. So I think I finished this one as well. This one's hanging upside down, maybe because it's small enough not to fall on its head. Ooh, this is an interesting ability. Revealing Echo. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may have your opponent reveal their hand. Zubat live in caves. Okay, another thing I'm wondering is it's the name of these Pokemon are actually singular and plural, or if it's just a bad translation error. Because Zubat sounds like it should be singular, but the way it's written, maybe not. Right, Zubat live in caves down where the sun's lights won't reach. In the morning, they gather together to keep each other warm as they sleep. Like, the first sentence feels like a translation error, but the second sentence makes me think that it's the collective are called Zubat instead of a singular one. Unless they are like goose. No, it's not goose. It's fish. The word I'm thinking of is fish. Because the plural of goose is geese. Fish is both singular and plural. Or would it be moose? That's also the same. Because me sounds stupid. It might be moose I was thinking of. Moving on from that total brain fart, the next card. Ooh, another Goldeen. Again, reminds me of the fish from Shark Tale. Because that's literally the only thing I can think of when I see it. Its dorsal and pectoral fins are strongly developed like muscles. It can swim at a speed of 5 knots. That is going way too fast. think even boats go up. Ugh. That's way too fast for such a small creature. But next card, ooh, a Nidoqueen. I'm just going to put this here and shake my head at the way it's developed, and you can ask yourselves why. But this is also another drill Pokemon, so I guess it gradually grows the drill similar to Rhyhorn. It pacifies offspring by placing them in the gaps between the spines on its back. The spines will never secrete poison while young are present. Well, that's nice. I also get, I forget, I've seen some animals, the young will just lay on their back. I love it when I see it. I wish they could have drawn that. That sucks. But next, ooh, a victory bell. Again, in that cartoony style. Once ingested into this Pokemon's body, even the hardest object will melt into nothing. So yeah, this is definitely giving more Venus flytrap vibes than the other one. Because the lid definitely gives me more of Venus vibes than the previous one. I think the previous one, I think they're supposed to be like more like pitcher um fly traps, if I remember correctly. I think I've heard of them once. They are very similar, except they don't usually have much of the movement that is stereotypical of Venus flytraps. But I think these are actually supposed to be like pitcher plants. I'll have to see. Alright. Next we have another Goldeen. And then last of this deck we have another Didoran female. So yeah, so this is a poison pen. So I guess this spike just keeps growing over time and then eventually also becomes a drill. Now it makes sense. It uses its hard incisor teeth to crush and eat berries. The tip of a female Nidoran's horn is a bit more rounded than the tip of a male's horn. Another question I always have had is whether the Nidorans were, because I believe they started adding a lot of sexual dimorphism of the Pokemon later, such as with Pikachu, with the males being the flat edge tail tip, while the females have like the hard edge tail tip. I wonder why they just always have kept the males and females of the Nidorans separate, because theoretically, yeah, like theoretically it could just be a sexual dimorphism, but they're specifically different Pokemon. I've always wondered why they've done that. But that's the last of that set. But we do have this small set that unfortunately this one was real to us. See if I can. Oh, it's like a little sleeve. Alright, so I will try open it so I don't see what else is there. I've been trying to have a good look, but how shiny it is makes it hard. But it is very pretty. Ugh. I'm still really bad at showing the camera things. Alright. Okay. There's no description. It just says that when it's knocked out, you take 2 prize cards. That would be scary. Good thing I'm not trading these. Ever. Alright, next card. Ooh, it's an item card. Steelix Spirit, I think? It's really cool art. Attach a Pokemon tool to one of your Pokemon that doesn't already have a Pokemon tool attached to it. Your turn does not end if the Pokemon this card is attached to becomes M Steelix X. Probably Another thing I have not seen. Interesting. Right, next card. Ooh, a Gira fairing. This kind of reminds me of Cat Dog. How there's like heads on both sides, although the tail reminds me of what the cannonballs from Mario. Forget what they're called, but they jump around, they're kind of like dogs in a way, but they're definitely like cannonballs. That's exactly what this reminds me of. That's all, yeah. And also, this is obviously a giraffe, as we can see from its name, long neck Pokemon, because there is nothing else special about this Pokemon. Alright, Garing's tail has a small head. It instinctually bites at any foe that approaches the Pokemon from behind. So it does kind of work like the ball Pokemon. Not the Pokemon, the... Is it... Is its name Chompy? Maybe it's Chompy. I don't know. From Mario. That's that's all I think is those from Mario. Ooh, a Pupitar. So the middle evolution in the chrysalis of this bug type, I'm supposing. This pupa flies around wildly by venting with great force the gas pressured inside its body. I mean, it's, well, I guess a hard shell or rock hurtling at you would hurt. So I'm like, it has a lot of damage for supposedly um, a chrysalis. Alright, next card. We have a Stonejourner. I have never heard of this one before, but it's clearly a rock type. Actually, I'm wrong. It's big rock type. But yeah, even with it being a beginner, one of its moves has 60 plus damage. I mean, it also has 130 health. That sounds insane to me. Right. It stands in grasslands, watching the sun's descent from zenith to horizon. This Pokemon has a talent for delivering dynamic kicks. How is it kicking? That's that's interesting. I also noticed that this one has a different style of holographic. Because these ones previously will have like a thing of the energy and then it's like circled. While this one is kind of like chevrons running forward and back. I hope that's visible. But yeah, this is a different design. But last, and certainly not least, ooh, a Bronzong? I guess this is another one of the ancient Pokemon, because this is another one that severely reminds me of um, hieroglyphics or Egyptian architecture. I think there's like a couple that are like ancients that just remind me of it. Right, in ages past, this Pokemon was revered as a bringer of rain. It was found buried in the ground. So is it alive? Or is it just like a fossil? Huh. I don't know whether this would be considered alive or not. I guess that is a speculation for the anime to solve because my brain is not working well right now. But yeah, we got a whole bunch of interesting cards. I put all these together because they're going in my binder. in Pokedex order again. Got a bunch of really cool cards. A cool item card. Yeah, a really cool and a shiny item card. I didn't think we could have those. A couple of new trainer item cards. And I think we have like maybe all but one or two types of energy. I think I'm missing dragon. I think I have psychic, maybe. So I think we almost have all the energies. So I would say even though that haul was slightly smaller than last time's, it was very productive. Um, but yeah, I still have two more on me that are fairly large. So I will eventually get to it when I eventually get to it. That's all I can promise. Eventually getting to it. But I will definitely see you guys later. Bye!